Hello, everyone. Glenda Mollet here, and welcome to my craft room this morning. Surprise, I'm live. I thought I would show you one of my elephant cards. Now, this is not one that we'll be doing in my elephant parade class, but it's similar. And the elephants are just so darn cute that I just thought I would pop on and do this card with you. I'm just getting Facebook set up here. Pop on, do this card with you, and show you how cute they are. Okay, got that running. Everything is going. We'll see if anybody shows up. If not, oh well, I'll just stamp by myself. And you can watch it later because that's the beauty of this is you don't have to be here live. You can watch it on the replay. Got an itchy nose, sorry. Okay, so let me switch you around and we'll look at the card. So I'm going to share with you how to create this card. Now, this is called the torn paper technique or the paper rolling technique, or it's got many names. And I've used New Horizon designer paper in there, but I'm not using that today. I'm going to change it up and do some different colors. So my elephant parade class is a class kit in the mail, which means you, for $65, you get the elephant parade bundle. Just let me get, there's the stamp set and the coordinating dies. And you get a package of dimensionals. So it brings it up to $60 product total. Then you can choose one of the celebration items. Sorry, I had a brain fart there. One of the celebration items as your free gift. Now I'm just getting the link here to register. I should have had this before, but I didn't. Copy over here. StreamYard. Go to comments. Good morning, Connie. There's the, okay, so there's the link. There's the link to register for the class. And you can do the class either in person. Not in person. You can do the class live virtually with me on August the 23rd, or you can do it at your leisure with the included exclusive video tutorials that I will be providing. If you are out of town, please allow $15 for postage. I've had things go missing lately and I've upped the postage so that I can include tracking. And if you live outside of Canada and you want to take the class, then contact me and we'll chit chat. Okay, so Elephant Parade. Oh, how darling are these images on here. Look at that. There's 3 of them. And this little tiny mouse, and there's a butterfly, and there's these leaves, which are really fun to use. And the coordinating dies, peanuts. There's peanuts. And there's peanuts here. So there's a die to cut these peanuts out, but there's also a die to make peanuts and some bows and butterflies and grass, all sorts of stuff. I'm also going to be using the sparkle adhesive back gems today. And on this one, I use the In Color matte gems. Okay, and on this one, I used the Thanks from Season of Chic, and I hand cut it and popped it up. I'm not doing that today. I'm going to use I'll Never Forget Your Kindness from the Elephant Parade stamp set. So the paper that I'm going to use, the designer paper today, is part of our free celebration paper. Look at this. Isn't that gorgeous? And then there's that on the other side. Both sides are usable. And it comes from the Wonderful World designer paper. Now you can get this free during celebration in a bundle with the Wonderful World stamp set. So there's 3 flowers on here, and they are the English rose, French iris, and the German cornflower. English rose, French iris, German cornflower. Isn't that cool? Why do I keep saying that? You know how I feel. I love this stuff. Okay, so let's get started, and I'm going to show you how to do this technique. Now, you probably have seen it. Have you seen it, Connie? Have you seen it done? Have you done it yourself? It's fun. I enjoy it. Okay, card base, 8.5 by 5.5. So let me get my recipe out here so I can tell you exactly what the measurements are. Okay, card base is 8.5 by 5.5. There's a piece of basic white, two pieces that are 5.25 by 4, one for the inside and one for the front. Another piece, 1 by 3.5 for sentiment, and 2 by 2 to cut to do the elephant. Now you could stamp him right on there, but I chose to stamp him and die cut him. Piece of old olive, some orchid oasis, and then designer paper. It's 5 1/8 by 3, or this one I think I made it 3 by 4 because that maximizes your designer paper and you can make a lot of these cards. So at 3 by 4, you can get 12 out of one sheet of designer paper. That's always a good thing when you can maximize your pieces. Okay, and an envelope. And there's the inside piece and the outside piece. All right, let's stamp the elephant. So I've used the sitting elephant on the front. I've used the peeking back elephant on the inside. And then I used the trumpeting elephant on the envelope. So I'm going to switch it up just a bit. And I'm going to switch this up too. I'm going to rip it from this side instead of that side. So let's get the looking back one elephant. And I'm going to stamp it in gray granite. So it's weird that I'm on. Oh, good. Connie's done it once and used the elephant once already that she just got. That's awesome. Okay. So I'm stamping in gray granite, then I'm going to color with the gray granite blends. But I always recommend die cutting before you color so you don't waste the coloring if you mess up the die cutting. And I forgot to get my machine, so hang on. It's a good thing my room is tiny. There we are. Okay. Get this. Like that. And I'll need the piece of old olive to do grass. Now it comes with 2 grass dyes, so you only have to run it through once. And then the one I need is this one, I believe. Yep, there we go. So each elephant has their own dye. And when you're doing this, the longer you take to line this up, the better your die cutting is going to be. Okay, I'll run that through. So I'm all ready to do my videos for my elephant class this afternoon. I figured while I was set up doing this, I might as well do my videos for that and my videos for the rustic harvest class that will be the tutorial bundle for August as well. I'm trying to get ahead of things a little bit. Okay, so isn't that cute? Love it. All right, and we're going to use the gray granite Stampin' Blends and just color them in. Now, on the one I did here, I did some blending, but you don't have to. You can just go over a couple of times with the light one, and it makes it darker so that you don't have to use the light and the dark and all that blending stuff. I do find with this image, these images, and the hippopotamus images from Celebration, that you have to put your color on in circles, which is the way you're supposed to do it in reality when you're working with alcohol markers, because that allows lots of ink and it gets down into your cardstock to avoid all those coloring lines. So if you go in a small circles like that, you see how it got rid of almost all of those coloring lines. In big areas, it's a little bit more difficult to get rid of those lines, but the more ink you have on your cardstock, the easier it is to get rid of them. All right, we'll just get this. I'm not coloring toenails because I want this elephant to have pink toenails. And just this foot here. There we go. Now I'm just going to do an extra little bit right here where he's going to have a shadow. There we go. And then maybe a little bit there. There. Here we are. Oh, how did I get mung on his ear? Oh dear. You know, sometimes things just don't work out. There we go. Apparently it was glue. So that's it for the gray granite. Now I've got light flirty flamingo. And I'm going to do the ears. And I'm going to do the toenails. Not that you will see them because of the grass that's in front, but I know that the toenails are painted. This is not the cutest stamp ever. Oh, I forgot to do the tail. Use the dark gray granite on the end of the tail. There we are. Okay, that didn't take long. So that's that done. That's that done. The sentiment. I'm going to stamp in Orchid Oasis. I did this one, but I'm thinking maybe not Orchid Oasis. What colors are in here? That's why I do these, because it has all the colors and then I can look and see. Rich Razzleberry. Let's switch that up to Rich Razzleberry. This is one color I don't use a lot. I keep forgetting about it. Okay. Ink. And I'm going to be cutting it. So I could stamp it right onto the paper. But you know, sometimes I'm afraid that if I mess it up, then I'd have to start all over again. So I'll just cut that out. All right, so now you take one of your white pieces, and this piece is 3 inches wide. So you want to, you don't have to have it in the middle, but I want it in the middle. And I don't want it to be any more than 2. So there's the center. So I'm going to put a 2 and mark at 2 and 3, and I'm not going to go past that. I don't have to do it that wide, but that's the size that I'm going to need to make let the designer paper show through. And then I know that I can go about that far in. So let's just do a little tear here. And a little tear here. And that's not quite far enough along, so I'm just going to add a little bit more. Now I want to we're going to do it this way, and I want this elephant to be here. So I don't want it torn much more than that, but I want them to be even. Okay, so now you cut off part of this torn piece. Now, if you're doing this technique with cardstock, you don't have to do that. Or sorry, with designer paper, you don't have to do that because it's light enough that you can roll it all and not have too big of a lump, but you kind of want the lump here to be not too thick so you can still get it in the mail. So I'm just using my bone folder to break down the fibers in there and to start the curl happening. And then I take, to start with, I have a blender pen here. Oh, I should have ripped that the other way. Oh well, that's just, there we go. All right, I'm going to wrap it around the blender pen like that. That gets it started. And then I have a an old paintbrush, and I'm going to do the same thing and just roll it, roll it, roll it until it stops. And then I'm going to just have a look and see what I think about. Oh, I like that. Perfect. Okay. So now I have it rolled, and it's going to roll nice and tight like this. And then I squish it down. We're going to take some adhesive, put it on the roll. I've unrolled it one revolution. So that when I fold this down for the last time, it's going to stick there. There. So there's our roll. Isn't that the coolest thing? I think it's so cute. So cute. All right, now the designer paper is going to go inside. And I'm putting the adhesive on where the hole is, so I know that it's not going to show through. And then you line up. Okay, this is going this way. My designer paper is going this way. So you line the edges up like that, because you don't want it to go past the edge. There we are. Except got more mung on there. I don't understand how this happens, you know. Oh, I know what those are. Duh. Those are my pencil marks. That I didn't want to go past that spot. So there we go. Get rid of those. Now, slip some adhesive underneath here. Like that. And get adhesive on our piece of basic white to put on the front. Now you can use any designer paper with this. It looks really cool with a whole bunch of different ones, florals and geometrics, and there we are. This one's going this way because that's the way I put my flowers. And I'm going to put this on here. Like that. And then we have our elephant and the grass. Oh, I just thought of something. Wouldn't it be cool to put grass sticking up here like that on the inside? That would be cool. Do I have any? Instead of putting it on him, let's just see if I can cut a couple of more, at least one more out of this. Maybe two, if I can find another piece. I love it when I have ideas like this. Okay, I need my pokey tool. I'm just going to run it underneath here. Lift that cardstock up. Just the cardstock, not the designer paper. Just like that. Now, let's see what this is going to look like with the grass sticking. Ooh. Now, do I want the third one in there, or do I just want to move them over? No, I like that in there. So let's pop that one back in there. Oh, look at that. Look. I love this. Hey, but now he looks like he's floating in midair. So another piece of old Mollet. It's a good thing I have lots of cardstock. And I'm going to cut 2 more of those. So we have some grass to put underneath his feet. So he doesn't look like he's floating in air. I used to go live at 10 o'clock in the morning a lot, way back when COVID started. But I haven't in the past little while. There. Ooh, what about if we stamped a couple of butterflies right on there, and see what color shall we use? I'm thinking melon mambo would be nice. Melon mambo. Just a couple of butterflies floating around. Looks like he's watching the butterflies. There we are. Just the sentiment here. I'll just give it a little bit of a chop. See if I can get it relatively straight. There we are. Okay, that's not straight at all. Okay, I need 3/8 of an inch. Should have just cut it when I started. Okay, Richard Azelberry. And stamp set. There, that's better. That's going to go on the bottom upon dimensionals like that. And then that little guy is going to go there. And then we'll put a couple of grasses in front of him. Like that. Love it. Okay, this is going to go flat because I don't want the grasses to be sticking out too much. Doesn't he look like he's been playing in the flowers with the butterflies? And some Tombow on the bottom of the grass. Maybe if it comes out. Some days the stuff works and some days it's clogged. And today is a cloggy day. Okay, we'll let those dry. I'll get my Wink of Stella. Do the ears. The eyes. Toenails. Not that you see the toenails, but I know they're there. And then I'm going to do butterflies. Give them a little pinkish tinge by reactivating that ink. There we go. Adorable. Okay, dimensionals for the sentiment. 1, 2, 3. Put that right down at the bottom. To this side. Like that. Now the grass is ready to go on. Just going to put one. I'm going to put it down a bit so maybe his their toenails will show. I always say his. I don't know why. It could be a him. Could be a her. Could be a they. You never know. There. Well, look at that. I hope you are enjoying this card. I just have the bling to put on the front and then we'll do the inside. So these are Spine Sparkle Adhesive Back Dots. And of course I didn't write down the colors that they are. But there's these cute pink ones. So I thought we would use the cute pink ones. We'll put one there. And we'll put a couple of little ones over here. There we go. Front is done. Now let's stamp. I think I'll stamp. Whoops. Having an avalanche. I think I'll stamp this one on the front. I call this one the trumpeting one. This is on the inside. And then on the envelope, we'll do the sitting down one. Let's ink up the right side of the stamp, though. How many times do you do that? Apparently, I do it quite a bit. Ink up the block instead of the stamp. Goodness gracious. Okay, so I'm not going to color the inside. I'm going to give this little cutie patootie a quick coloring in light gray granite to say it's the same as we did on the front. Only this one, I don't know, it kind of looks like the whole ear should be gray granite, not pink. Okay, let's do his trunk. Around the eye. And down to the body. There we go. Right over top of the tail because it's going to need to be colored too. Such cute images. So by the time today is over, I will be in a sea of cuteness with all of my card tutorials that I'm doing today. Okay, well, let's just put a little bit over top of the tail there. Add some light flirty flamingo to the ears. Now, I did look at pictures of the elephants and they don't have pink ears, but that's what creative license is for. When you're a paper artist, you can do what you want. There we go. Oh. Put that inside. This is turning out really adorable. I knew what I want, that I wanted to use different colors and stuff and different orientation for the tearing technique, but I really didn't know what the card was going to look like. But there we go. There's our two cards. So this is the original one I made using the New Horizons designer paper. And this one is Wonderful World designer paper, which is free during celebration. Don't forget about my class. You still have until the 29th of July to register for it. Thanks, Connie. And I put the link to register for it in the comments if you're catching the replay, and if you're watching it on YouTube, it will be down in the comment, the description of the video. I hope you can join me in my craft room. Okay, let me switch back and I'll say goodbye. Thanks everyone for catching the live. Thanks, Connie, I appreciate it, and everybody else who's out there. Or thanks for catching the replay. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, and I'll see you Thursday for my virtual retired product sale at 8 o'clock. Stampin' Smiles, and bye for now, everyone.